All right, Doc here for the Detroit Beard Collective. Are you rocking a beard this spring, cuz? Is your beard feeling dry, scaly? Could the flyaway hairs use some taming? Does your beard have leftover food in it? You can't be rocking a beard like that these days. There's companies out there that help you groom your beard in a nice, tight way. Go to DetroitBeardCollective.com, a Detroit company that provides quality beard care products. Go to their website, DetroitBeardCollective.com, and check out the many items that they sell. Beard care sets, combs, Detroit Beard Collective t-shirts, or the very popular Beard Crate, which is a comprehensive beard care set which allows you to choose your favorite Detroit Beard Collective product, all for one great price. DetroitBeardCollective.com.
Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listening to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong in there.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, my favorite co-host, Adam the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
Dude, we're like the originators. We're like the originators of this Detroit shit. You realize that, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
Like we're like the godfathers of this or something. I'm just saying, man. Just saying.
Yeah, people are going to try to do podcasts, but they know. Everyone knows they're not going to do it as well as Doc and Jock. Come on, man.
They can't hold a flame to this.
How you feeling, man? You've been dragging ass all morning.
I know. I'm dying right now. If you have an IV in one of the back rooms, if you can just get it, fill it with coffee, and just pump that into me, it'd be great. I'm dragging right now, man. I got like 4 hours of like the most like restless sleep ever. I got like one of those little Fitbits, and it like monitors my sleep, and it was like 4 hours, and you were restless 13 and a half times. And I was like, what? It was like every time I started to fall asleep, man, I woke right back up. It was brutal.
And then on top of that, things going on in Detroit sports are all out of whack. I stayed up last night to watch the Tigers' second game versus Oakland, and all the scoring was done within the first 10 minutes. I stayed up, waiting for the offense, waiting for something to click. I thought that the Tigers were going to play much better. My goodness. They won the game 1-0. And it was just so difficult to stay up that I missed the bullpen taking care of business. I missed Soria and his 4-out save. I missed that part, but I woke up. They won the game 1-0. We got a lot to get to. Lots of wrinkles, lots of topics to talk about with the Tigers. Brad Ausmus continues to be an issue. There are some lingering issues with Anibal Sanchez. And now Justin Verlander is about to make his rehab start. So he is inching ever so close to coming back to the lineup. We need it. Because right now, the Tigers lack spark, in my opinion. It just seems like the team collectively on offense is in a slump. With this offense, you wouldn't think that over 20 games so far this season, they've scored 2 runs or less. That is shocking to me that a team built like this is struggling collectively on offense. I'm just shocked to see it. It's really challenging to watch. It just seems like whatever Brad Ausmus is trying to do to spark them, like sending Go, sending Davis, Oakland threw out three of our Tigers trying to steal in the first game of the series. I was shocked by that. I was like, wow, Brad Ausmus is trying to be aggressive, and Oakland just countered us. I mean, their catcher is unbelievable. Threw us out left and right. We get runners on base, and we're hitting into double plays at a significant clip. And people around town, some writers are saying, well, that's not a big deal because that would indicate that, in order to hit into double plays, you need to have runners on base. But in order to score runs, you need to have runners in scoring position. And over 20 games of the 47 they've played, they haven't scored more than 2.
You know what's messed up about all that? They're second in the major leagues with batting average, which just goes to show you that they're getting all of their runs. They're producing in one-off games, and they're not being able to carry that through, and that's scary.
And they're getting hits. This is a team that ranks high in hits in Major League Baseball. So they're getting on base. It's just the follow-through of the secondary hitting is not happening.
They're just not getting any runs across.
On record to get over 170 double plays this year.
The messed up thing is they're hitting the ball at such a great clip, but they're not getting the runs across home plate. They're in like the second third of the major leagues for scoring runs. That's not good. Yeah, it hurts that you have Victor Martinez on the DL, and it hurts that Miguel Cabrera is dealing with an ankle issue. It hurts that you got guys who are hitting into numerous double plays, but you got to be better, and you got to produce more consistently. This goes back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago. This team's inconsistent. And then when they are putting up runs, they're putting up 7 runs in a game. You got Brad Ausmus leaving guys out on the mound that's just killing them. I'm going to go back to this past weekend when Anibal Sanchez was left on the mound to sit there and just let himself implode. Brad Ausmus left him out there. At right around 102 pitches, Anibal Sanchez should have had the hook pulled on him. He was up there. He was laboring. He was tired. Anytime Anibal gives you 6 innings or more, and he looks like he's tired and he looks like he's about to collapse, you got to pull him. We've talked about it time and time again. The guy, once he gets to the 7th inning, it's pants off, dance off with that guy. You don't know what you're going to get. Either he's going to reign supreme, like a soft shell taco with sour cream, or he's going to explode. And he gave you 6 and 2/3, and he's up there struggling. Dudes are just putting the wood on the ball, and they're just batting it all around. And you got guys on first and second, and you're just going to leave him up there. And he just sits there and he just sets himself on fire. He rolls around in kerosene and lights the match, and he just implodes and gives up a 3-run shot.
A lot of people are talking and looking at it and trying to dissect Anibal Sanchez. A lot of people are saying, listen, did you look at the middle innings? He was unhittable. So he came out and started poorly, gave up, I think, 3 runs in the first inning. The 2nd through the 5th, he was unhittable. So it leads a lot of people to believe that it could be a mechanical issue, that if he just works on his mechanics and builds up some stamina, that he can be that guy. He's got the stuff. It just, when he goes off, he leaves fat pitches for hitters to crank, and he's given up 11 home runs this season, and we can't have that. You're putting the Tigers in a rough spot, especially when they're struggling to score runs. But I do think, though, when you watch the 2nd through the 5th inning, he was really dominant. He had good stuff. He mixed speeds. The movement was good. It's just when he gets tired or when the games are starting, he just is not as effective, and it's really concerning.
Think that's the thing. I think he has a pitch range, and I think we know what that pitch range is. I think once he gets above 105, you're dealing with fool's gold. You don't know what you're going to get. He's not David Price. David Price can give you 120. Justin Verlander used to be able to give you 120. We don't know if Verlander will be able to give you now, but he used to be able to give you 120. Anibal Sanchez can get you 100, 102, 103, 104, 105. If he has a new batter up, you should probably pull him because, like you said, the guy's got great stuff and he's wheeling up there for those first 100 and some odd pitches. But after that, he's going to go kaboom. And it's going to burn you. And you can't leave the guy in there to do that, to self-destruct. Brad Ausmus has made questionable decisions like this time and time again. He did this with Jabba Chamberlain. He puts Jabba Chamberlain in, and Jabba's just getting hit all around the park. Just getting hit all around the park with singles. Leaves him in there, and next thing you know, there's crooked numbers up on the board, and the Tigers are taking the L. You can't do this. You're putting these guys out there and you're not helping them win games. Your job as the manager is to put your players in the best position to win ball games. And right now, the Tigers are in the middle of this division, looking up. They've got Minnesota ahead of them, and they got Kansas City ahead of them. There's no reason for them to be in this situation. Not with this payroll, not with this team. There's no reason for it.
This week of baseball for the Tigers has been really weird. Miguel Cabrera had a cranky ankle, per se, and on the flight over, I guess it kind of bothered him. So he didn't play Monday's game. On Tuesday's game, you didn't play Ian Kinsler, who last season played 161 games. And he's been mired in a significant slump. He hasn't been batting all that well in the last week, let's say. And so you've given them days off. Alfredo Simon was set to start the 3rd game of the series versus Oakland, and he had a significant family issue. And you don't have players in the minors to bring up. I mean, you're bringing up this kid Ryan, who was 0-5. He didn't obviously make it to the ballpark in time, so you started Alex Wilson. And it's just kind of a weird week going on with the Tigers in terms of shifting the lineups. And, in Wednesday's game, I think Brad Ausmus is trying to shift the lineup around. He batted Yoenis Cespedes above J.D. Martinez. And when asked about it, he said, because I wanted to. So he's a little bit snarky.
That's not a good answer, dude.
Yeah, he's a little bit snarky. When he was asked about what happened with Anibal Sanchez, he said, well, nowadays when you speculate, whenever you make a choice and it doesn't turn out, then I'm wrong. Well, the issue is this. I just think that what everyone's looking at is you're in your second season. Do you have the feel for the game at this point in time in your career? The key moment in that sixth inning with Anibal Sanchez was the first batter cranked a home run. So right away, you're like, oh, that should be a sign for you to maybe potentially dial up the bullpen, get someone warm. Do you do that? No. And he continues to struggle. And the part that's really messed up for Brad was Anibal was dealing too, because in between those outs, he was getting strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So it was like feast or famine. But at the same time, I just feel like many of the fans, people that are watching, are kind of questioning Brad Ausmus in terms of, do you have the feel for the game? Do you know, are you putting too much trust in these players? And I've said it on previous podcasts, and my thinking is Brad Ausmus is way too chummy with the boys. I don't like the level of players manager that he is. I think he's too nice. The boys are running roughshod in the locker room. I don't think that he has command like a skipper should. By now, Jim Leyland would have said something, would have done something to motivate these guys. Brad Ausmus is a little bit too laid back, in my opinion, for this ball club to take that next step. They're all happy dancing in the locker room, chumming it up, doing the handshakes, and I just think that Brad Ausmus needs to put the hammer down and be the boss of this team and really consider shifting up some strategy, shifting up how he's using these players, and maybe trust them a little bit less.
You're on the right track there. I really feel like what you said to start this whole thing off was that he doesn't have the feel for this team. He doesn't have the feel as a major league manager.
Should he by now, or are we being too critical?
I would think so. But then
200 games into his managerial career?
I've never managed a major league team myself, but I would think so. At this point, you know what you have in that locker room. You know who your guys are. But he's going to take a guy like Rajai Davis and he's going to throw him out in right field. Rajai Davis doesn't ever play right field. And yeah, it shouldn't be that big of a transition for him, but it is. And this leads to errors, which then leads to runs, which then leads to losses. And I just feel like this whole, all last year was kind of an experiment for him. And I feel like he's kind of carrying that over. And it's almost like it's his chemistry set. He's like, well, what can I do to make an explosion here? Okay, so that didn't work. What if I tried this? Let's mix a little Hernan Perez in here, and let's throw a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we'll take out some Miguel, and we'll sit there and we'll take Robot Knee himself, Victor Martinez, and we're just gonna run him right into the ground, and let's see what happens. It's like you need to know what's going on, and you're absolutely right. He needs to have a feel for this team by now. There's no reason that Victor Martinez should have been left out there as long as he was, right? From the get-go, you knew he wasn't batting well from the left side. Why are you going to sit there and why are you going to put him in that position? You, as the manager, need to pull him. Don't let him tell you what to do. You've got other players who don't fit specific roles on this team, but you're going to try them in there anyways. Why? Don't do that. You got guys out on the mound who are sitting there and they're just throwing batting practice, and you're just going to leave them up there. Are you trying to send a message? I mean, I know managers have done this in the past where they sit there and they'll leave a guy up there and just let him just die on the vine because they're trying to send a message. Are you trying to send a message? We're only 40-some games into the season. What are you trying to send a message for? You don't want to blow these guys' arms up, and you're just letting these guys die out there. Jaba's giving up tons of hits. Sanchez is getting knocked around the park. Like you said, he gives up the home run. You should have somebody up in that bullpen getting ready. And then he gets a couple of guys out, and then next thing you know, there's two men on. At that point, you need to pull him. What are you doing just letting him hang out up there?
What percentage of blame do you give to Ausmus, and what percentage of blame do you give to General Manager Dombrowski? Because it's incumbent upon him to give, Ausmus a reliable bullpen. And I can understand where Ausmus may be trigger shy to go to the bullpen and may try to, want to ride the starters out a little bit longer to avoid going to that bullpen. I mean, when you really look at it, I wouldn't trust anybody in that bullpen. I would be looking like, wow, can I just get one more batter? And he played the odds of saying, well, Anibal Sanchez is a little bit better versus left-handers than he is versus right-handers. So he played the odds, and it burned him. But at that point, when you're well over 110 pitches, you can't really play the odds. You kind of had a feeling like, okay, you were up 7-4, and he had two runners on. You go to the bullpen, get that out. get to that next inning and go from there. But at the same, and then you run the risk of now jarring Anibal. His confidence is low. He's been giving up a lot of home runs, and it's one of those things where you should have just took him out for psychological reasons to get him to the next start and to allow him to leave the game with a lead. And you didn't do that. And now, like I said, I just think that Dombrowski has not positioned this team in terms of the overall bullpen and the starting rotation with guys that I think are going to be productive. You know, Simon and Green have kind of come back a little bit. It's a little bit concerning. So part of us has to kind of take a look at what has Dombrowski really done to improve this bullpen.
To a point, you make a good point. But this is one of the better bullpens statistically in the major leagues right now. And I'm right there with you where I don't necessarily have an overwhelming feeling of, yeah, I can put any one of those guys in and they're going to get the job done. I mean, by this point, we don't even know who the setup guy is for Soria.
It can't be Jabba. Please, I don't know why that Jabba got slotted for that job. I don't know why Brad is like, that's my 8th inning guy. I'm going to ride or die with him. Once you saw last year, that should not be his job. And I don't like that kind of thinking of, well, I need a 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy, 9th inning guy. I don't like that. Situation by situation. And I just, at this point in time, I don't have confidence in Jabba in the 8th.
And I totally understand that. But statistically, they're still one of the better bullpens in the league. So Dombrowski's done his job to a certain point. It's now incumbent on Brad Ausmus to sit there, take this team over, and if he doesn't like something, he's got to mold it. This is what you got. These are the groceries you've been given, and I know you wanted steak, but you got chicken. So you got to figure it out. Make the meal. You got to serve up something that's got to be fine dining here. So do your job. Take this team over and do what you have to do. You have coaches everywhere. You got guys in the bullpen. If guys are throwing in the bullpen and they look shaky, call down there. Ask the coach who's down there what's going on. Say, hey, what's your feel? Give other guys some autonomy to sit there and help you out, and help you make these decisions.
And then you got
Ausmus has to be better.
Yeah.
He has to be better.
And going back to the fact of respect, you got players missing signs left and right. There's something going on in that locker room. Something's going on with Brad Ausmus, and it needs to improve. Now, yes, you're going to potentially get a shot in the arm in just a few weeks with Verlander, Rondon, V-Mart. Those would be great trade deadline moves. You're going to get those guys without giving away anything. Those guys are going to come back to the lineup, and you just hope that you're still in it. Minnesota's coming on strong. Kansas City, now, thank goodness, New York put a pounding to them. Let us get a chance to kind of get back to 2 games out of first place. But the Tigers right now are a tough watch, and it just, what's it going to take for the offense to collectively get back in rhythm to get consistent? Is it going to be more days off? I mean, I know they're looking probably to the next couple of weeks where they're going to have, I think, they're going to play 8 games in 11 days and have like a stretch of 3 days off, a Monday, a Thursday, and a Monday. So they're looking forward to that to potentially heal up and maybe get away from the game mentally. But right now, it seems like a grind to string 2 hits together. It seems like a grind to, have a solid pitching performance, go to the bullpen, and lock it up. Soria has been amazing. He blew that 1 save, bounced right back, and Brad is going to him a little bit more for 4-out saves. I like the fact that he's doing that. But at the same time, everything else in the bullpen, while you say statistically, you're playing teams, too, that aren't, world beaters. Houston was good. You earned a tie with them. We took 2, and they took 2. You're playing Oakland. They're not that great, which is why David Price was able to dominate. But going forward versus elite teams, will that bullpen be around and be consistent enough to get outs? I can't sit here and tell you that. Another thing, too, that I think we're downplaying a little bit is the absence of V-Mart and Alex Avila. That's really affecting the offense. That's really affecting the starting pitching. You've seen kind of a dip now in Simone and Green since Avila's been out. Statistically, in terms of offense, McCann and Avila are roughly similar in terms of stats. We'll talk about that, but the absence of V-Mart and Alex Avila for this team has really been significant, and that's why we've been a little bit under 500 since that 11-2 start.
I think so. When you take out a guy like Victor Martinez, it's going to change your batting lineup. Alex Avila, I'm not so sure, because James McCann has played very, very well, being put in a rough spot and coming on, and he's done an exceptional job. He's the only player in baseball to get a inside the park home run and a walk-off home run. That guy's come up with timely hits and timely home runs and has driven in runs at exceptional times when they've needed it. But you remove a guy like Victor Martinez, he calms everything down, not just in the locker room, but in the batting order. He gives Miguel Cabrera almost like a confidence boost and kind of lets him go up there and lets him swing and lets him do what he has to do. On top of that, he alleviates a lot of pressure on that back half because now you're going to have a guy like JD Martinez, Jonas Cespedes, Nick Castellanos. Those guys are going to have to start to kind of press a little bit to sit there because I feel like they got to make up for that difference. Taking a guy like Victor Martinez out really kind of changes everything around. But that being said, you knew what you had going into the season. You knew he wasn't doing well. You knew he was kind of rusty. You knew he was hurt. You knew that it took him almost 3/4 of a season 2 seasons ago to get right. Why are you going to sit there and why are you going to press him? Why are you going to put him in this spot? Why are you going to do that to this team? Now you have to shuffle everything around. You got to take all these guys out of their comfort zone, and now they've got to sit there and try to generate hits. And this is a team that's generated one run in 2 games against an awful Oakland A's team. In the first 2 games of that series, they've got 1 run. 1 run. I know when you go on the West Coast, it's a little bit hard, and Oakland always plays the Tiger stuff. Always. But you got to do better. You have to do better.
An interesting talking point that came out a little bit earlier now on Wednesday was Ausmus called A's manager Bob Melvin late Tuesday night and let him know that Alex Wilson would be starting for the Tigers. And he said he did it as a courtesy.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I'm saying exactly. Why would you do that?
Why?
I mean, yes, there's a certain level of respect that you want to give in terms of competitiveness, but why on earth are you going to call the opposing manager and tell him the night before so he can set his lineup and look at stats and spend some time evaluating that? I thought that was a weird thing, and I'm kind of sitting here going, I wouldn't have done that. I just would have been like, you know what, it's up in the air. They thought that I think Kyle Ryan was supposed to come up, but he's 0-5, and he didn't make it to the ballpark in time in terms of taking a flight. I definitely would not have called the manager up and said, hey, this is who I'm starting.
Does he strike you as a guy who doesn't have a killer instinct? He's just a really nice guy. He's pleasant to look at. He's generally pleasant to talk to. He's not a bad face for the organization. He strikes me as a
PG.
guy. Yeah,
PG.
He strikes me as a guy who's very, very front office orientated. But when you get down to brass tacks, he doesn't have that killer instinct. He's not going to sit there and go for your neck when he can put you out.
That's the best way to put it. He's PG, and right now we need the rated R superstar. You know, we need someone to light a fire under these guys. We need a guy to motivate them to play better. I mean, remember, we started off the season 11-2. Last season we started off on fire. But then we plateaued and played around 500 baseball. Since we started 11-2, we're under 500. So what's that about? With this lineup, I don't understand what's going on. You know, some people are saying, well, the baseball season's long, but you can still see trends. You can see wrinkles in how Ausmus is using the lineup, mixing the lineup, how, you know, the decisions are affecting the club. And right now, you can't have a manager who's costing you, based on his decisions, 1 to 2 games a week. Not in the AL Central. Right now, Kansas City and Minnesota are playing a solid brand of baseball, and you can't have the manager costing you games. You just cannot have that. And it's going to be incumbent upon him to really regroup in the next couple series and get this team playing in a much better fashion. And I'm hoping once the troops come back that this team can turn it around. I think that Avila will get the start because Brad Ausmus is very loyal. That Avila's ability to manage the starting pitchers is very, very key to this team and the effectiveness of the starters. And just in terms of stats, right now McCann's at 96 at-bats, and Avila had 80 before the injury. McCann's batting .281 with 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, with an on-base percentage of .310. Avila this season had 80 at-bats. He batted .200, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, but his on-base percentage was .342. So it's very similar. Avila walks more. He has the ability to work the count. And while his batting average is not as good, McCann has the ability to be a little bit more consistent. And if he develops into a power bat, that'll be a good thing for the Tigers. But I just think now, evaluating it, with all things being equal and Avila's ability to handle the starters, I would stick with Avila and see how that progresses.
You wouldn't maybe possibly think about splitting time with these two, especially with the way Avila always gets beat up and how you could possibly use him, especially with the way he can call games and the way he's a defensive-minded catcher later in the season. Because my mindset would be, all right, I got this and I've got this. All things considered, they're pretty equal. One's a little bit better with the bat than the other one is. We need some hits right now. So maybe I go 60-40 split McCann. And then if McCann cools off, maybe I switch that 60-40 for Avila. And just sit there and just try to maybe go as close as I possibly can to giving them equal time to sit there and just try to either A, figure it out so I know who I'm going to want down the stretch, or B, just try to rest Avila up so he's not hurt, he's not beat up. Because we haven't seen a healthy Alex Avila late in the season. Gosh, how long has it been? 5 years now? Every year going into the postseason, he's always got something, whether it be a concussion, a bruised foot, a bruised leg, a bad hand. You know, he always has something. He's always seeing the doctor for something. So I think you just split the time with these guys. When Avila comes back and he's good and healthy, don't try to rush him back. Let him get right. And then, because McCann's doing an admirable job. He's doing a really nice job. And it's nice to see that we maybe have something there. So I say you just let it kind of take its course. Let it do its thing. When he comes back, you maybe look at like a 60-40 split.
No, it's very fair. I think he might do that, but I just feel like he's very loyal to the returning players. He's a very loyal guy, and he's going to throw Avila out there because the offense was doing a lot better when he was, as a collective unit when he was in the lineup. So we shall see. And also, too, Lobstein was left in. He's got a minor, tweak in the shoulder. So right now, the injury bug is kind of creeping through the lineup, and it just feels like the All-Star break can't come fast enough. We still got a long way to go. It feels like they need a collective week off, just a break.
You know what's messed up?
What's messed up?
These guys are on track right now to win 93 games, and we're talking about them like...
Well, we're not looking at them
like they're going to win 65.
Well, 93 might not be enough.
I know. That's what's messed up. I mean...
And you don't want to be the team that's in the wild card game because anything can happen depending on how the pitching lineup shifts. You don't want to be, having to go with a Lobstein or having to go with a, your fourth or fifth starter in the wild card game depending on the schedule. You might not be able to shake it out where Price is the guy. But, in later podcasts, we have to kind of start thinking, okay, people are evaluating the organization as a whole. The minors are looking kind of thin. And so in order to retool that, you might have to give up some pieces in the main organization from the main roster. So maybe in future podcasts, we'll look at that. And also, you're going to have a big negotiation going now with David Price. It's getting closer and closer. He's earned a big, fat contract. It's obvious. He's the ace of the team. Teams are going to come after him and want to, throw some money at him to take over, the starting rotation for their clubs. So what are the Tigers going to do? What should they do? So many more storylines. And then the return of JV, what's going to happen when our returning players come back? There's so many storylines. We're still above 500. We're still a very good, respected ball club. I just think right now the output leaves a lot to be desired. And, maybe I'll take a couple of days off myself, not watch them, and just see how they do. Let's take a quick break, cuz let's regroup a little bit. Let's think a little bit more positively. We're going to play a round of the Doctors in Session after this break. Doc and Jock, podcast number 94, Detroit Sports Podcast.com. All right, cuz, let's check in with one of our favorite sponsors, Sport Displays Jersey Mount. The Sport Displays Jersey Mount are the easiest and most affordable way to proudly show off your favorite jersey, uniform, sweater, t-shirt, or costume. With its unique design, Sport Display Jersey Mounts are the only hangers on the market that can be mounted to any surface. This allows for easy access to your favorite jersey on game day by simply snapping the rod into or out of the holder. You've got yourself an Anthony Mantha jersey, you want to hang it up. If you have a Steve Yzerman jersey, and if Tampa Bay wins the Stanley Cup, he not only is a great executive, you want to hang up his Detroit Red Wing jersey in your office, simply snap the jersey mount on and off. It's easy to use. The jersey mount really adds to any man cave. Sport Display jersey mounts are affordable, easy to install. They can be mounted anywhere to both wall or ceiling. If you want, go to jerseymount.com/Detroit-sports-podcast and get a jersey mount and get 5% off. Visit jerseymount.com and check out a really great product that really adds to any man cave. jerseymount.com. Get 5% off. If you're a fan of Michigan, cuz, then you have to check out uofmdiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. uofmdiehards.com. Doc and Jock, check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than uofmdiehards.com.
I'm Go Blue, baby.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of ways to support us here at the podcast. If you like what you're listening to, If you enjoy the podcast, if you want us to continue to provide great content every Monday and Thursday, if you want us to continue to take phone calls, just go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links. Lots of great online deals. I know everybody that's listening likes to save money. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links, bookmark them, and every time you shop online, nothing extra happens. You get charged no more money. But when you shop online through DetroitSportsPodcast.com, they kick us back a little something, and we can continue to provide great content. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir. All right, Doc and Jock, thank you for downloading our podcast. All right, cuz, this is your chance to kind of tell me, what is the reason behind this popularity with Monty Python? You mentioned it in last week's podcast, so I figured I'd throw you a bone and mix up the music a little bit. That was, for those of you who don't know, the Monty Python theme. Now, I've never really seen a frame, but I do know that it's a cult classic. People like it. What's the deal with Monty Python? What's the fuss about?
It's just funny British comedy, man. Like, you ever watch anything British? It's always funny. It's different. So Monty Python's just different, man. It's funny, man. The scene we were talking about, what was it, last week, was incredible. It's these two knights that are fighting out in the woods, and next thing you know, the one knight challenges the other, and by the end of it, the one has no legs, no arms. He's just a head, and he's just shooting blood everywhere, and he's still challenging this guy to a fight, and just the back and forth, the way it's written is well. It's funny. It's very British. You got to check it out, man.
Are there multiple movies in the series?
Yeah, there's a couple different ones.
Okay, so which one do you recommend to start with for those who have not watched a Monty Python movie?
I like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's the one where the scene was I was just telling you about. I find that one to be very funny. I like it a lot, so I would check that one out.
Okay,
start with that one.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Okay, recommended viewing from the Jock. I will check it out. I will take your word for it. But if it sucks, you're gonna have one grumpy dude. I don't like watching bad movies.
That's all right.
Because you said it's hit or miss. Either some people are gonna like it, or
some people like
not.
Some people don't. Like, that's the thing with British comedy. It's either hit or miss. Either you like it or you don't. You know, do you like British comedy? Do you find it funny?
I don't think I've watched too many. I know Mr. Bean. I don't think there's too many British comics that I know about.
Okay. Well, check it out.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Either it's kind of like an acquired taste. You either like it or you don't. And what's up with Anthony Mantha jerseys? What's going on? Where can I get one of those? Ooh, Anthony Mantha.
Grand Rapids, man.
Ooh.
They're about to win another Calder Cup. Throw Blash little party. Dude, they're playing great.
Yeah. Anthony Mantha, though. Ooh.
That's not your guy? Not your guy anymore?
Not right now.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll talk about
we might be talking about a new stud here in Docs in Session.
All right. This is what we call the Doctors in Session, where the Jock has lined up 3 great questions, and the Doc is ready to deliver and share his great sports knowledge.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here, I'm the man, woo!
All right, not talking about that bum Anthony Mantha. How good can Dylan Larkin become? In his first game as a Grand Rapids Griffin, in the playoffs, the guy scored 2 goals. How good can he be?
Well, in my research, I kind of went back a couple years in terms of who was actually picked number 15 in the draft. And a couple years, back in 2013 and 2012, teams went with defensemen. So I couldn't really look at that. Back in 2011, the Rangers selected JT Miller. And in Game 6, if you notice, he had a monster game versus Tampa Bay. He had a goal and 3 assists. It was a +4 and helped them to get to Game 7 versus the Lightning. It seems like everyone's looking for the next big thing, the next Sidney Crosby. But a lot of the guys that were drafted, centers in around 15, have only averaged like 25 to 30 points their rookie season. So that's, I think, something that we can shoot for. Someone that can put the puck in the net, can be a plus player, and by all accounts, Dylan Larkin has the ability to score. He's scored in every level that he's played at. He played at college. He's played now in the minors. He's played in national tournaments. Dylan Larkin has a lot of potential, but it's just not too often that an 18, 19-year-old comes in and wows the league with 50 goals and 80 points and is a superstar. But if we can get a guy that can be seasoned in his first couple of seasons, he can be a contributor, that guy that can put the puck in the net consistently. A guy like Pulkkinen a guy that's a sniper. I really think he's got all the potential in the world, and he's at the right organization. The Red Wings give you a chance to get seasoned in the minors. There's so many great players that you can learn from. You're going to learn from Datsuk. You're going to learn from Zetterberg. You're going to learn from some world-class hockey players playing for the Red Wings. So I really think that Dylan Larkin can be an 80-point-a-season scorer. I really look forward to seeing him play. I really think he's got a lot of potential, and he's really pushing Anthony Mantha right now because a little bit of luster was lost with Mantha's first season in Grand Rapids, but Larkin comes up his first game and lights the lamp. So why not? I'm looking for a superstar to come up right away. I mean, in baseball, you have Bryce Harper, you have this kid Bryant from Chicago, you got Trout, and we're still waiting on Castellanos to be more consistent. Everyone's still saying, he's 24, he's so young. Well, he was the number one prospect. What are you waiting for? You know, Trout was highly touted. Look, he's producing. Sidney Crosby came up, and right away, he was a superstar. Why not us? Why don't we get a guy that just comes in and gets it right away? Is it going to happen? The odds are going to say no, but you know, the odds are he's going to be around 25 to 30 points his first couple seasons in the league while he gets adjusted because it's a big boy league. With growth and potential, I really do think he can be an 80 to 90 point scorer, a significant contributor on the first or second line as a center.
Do you see him as a guy who can maybe take up that mantle of a Henrik Zetterberg or Pavel Datsuk?
That's what, 15th. He was drafted 15th in the 2014 draft, and he's got, he's 6 foot, 172 at 18 years old. He could fill out. I definitely see that. I think he can be the realistic expectation. He's going to be a first line center, and he's going to be a really productive player. I'm really excited for him to get up here and do some damage. It's probably not going to happen right away, but once he does, he's going to do some damage. He's going to be a good player.
Sounds promising. Should teams be held accountable for players who get arrested for domestic violence incidents? This goes back to an article that was in the USA Today. This goes back to Ray McDonald and the Chicago Bears and his recent run-in with the law for domestic violence. This is, I believe, his third time having some type of an incident involving domestic violence. And the Bears took a flyer on him. They went out there. They signed him to $1 million. They really didn't do any investigating of him. They just kind of brought his parents in and talked to him. So should a team like the Bears be held accountable? Because there was a scathing piece that said that they should lose draft picks, they should be fined, there should be all kinds of actions taken against the organization that goes out and signs a player like that.
There's such a fine line between giving a second chance and really hurting your organization. And the Lions right now have just cut the cord and said, listen, we're going to be an organization that brings in guys that are going to be respectable in the community. They're going to not have too many behavioral issues, and especially not with domestic violence. I believe they cut a player earlier this offseason because of some issues. In terms of domestic violence, this is the new issue because it was put on the forefront nationally by Ray Rice. So any issue with domestic violence is basically target number one for dismissal because it is an issue that has gained so much steam nationally, as it should. No man should put his hand on a woman no matter what. Do you say if that happens one time, the guy should be off the team? I do believe that. If you're charged with domestic violence, you shouldn't be an individual representing an organization because, you're going to have significant backlash. You're going to have unwanted attention. It's going to be a huge distraction. You need to get your house in order. So, and you definitely need to get help because that means that you're not able to control your impulses, and that can be very deadly. And the NFL has seen that. There have been very sad stories of players, harming their wives and harming themselves, murder trials. It's just a sad situation. But should teams be held accountable? I think you end the problem by holding teams accountable. You bring a player to your organization that commits domestic violence, you should lose a second-round pick. Second-round pick and a significant fine. You have to have some deterrent. A first-round pick goes to competitive advantage, and I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. Second-round pick and a big, massive fine, I think will deter teams from taking a player like McDonald. I mean, I'm really shocked that he wasted this opportunity. He got another chance, he got a contract, and he just couldn't get his shit together. It's really sad. Teams should be held responsible as institutions where you need to control the individuals that are there, and you need to find a way to get this thing to stop. It has to be stopped.
I totally disagree with you. At what point is it on the team to control your actions outside of the workplace? And I know real life doesn't necessarily translate to sports because they're two totally different cultures, but that would be like my boss at my job getting mad and getting fined because I got drunk at a bar and I picked a fight inside the bar.
Okay, maybe you could at least limit it to
that.
You could limit it to a second offense. If you bring in someone with a prior record and they do it again,
there could be something there. Just letting teams be on notice, like, hey, you've got a guy who has a history of this. If he gets out of hand or does something like this, it's going to come down on you. I think there you maybe have a little bit of jurisdiction and you can maybe do something like that. But I think to go ahead and fine teams for players acting a fool, let's be honest, it's the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And not just the NFL. You've got NBA, you got the MLB, and you got the National Hockey League. Most of these guys aren't real good people, especially in the NFL. I would say probably 93% of these guys are awful human beings. If you really found out what they do and how they live their lives, you would be appalled. And you probably wouldn't be a fan of the team that you're a fan of. But that being said, how are you going to sit there and how are you going to tell a team, hey, because Carlos over there acted a fool, you now have to give up a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick, or here's a $1 million fine because he's an idiot. I just don't see that having any legs, and I don't see you being able to sit there and enforce something like that because it's on the player. It's not on the team.
Right, but, employers do ask, have you ever been convicted of a felony? Do you have any significant issues? They do. Some companies will even go out and do a background check, checking, to see if you're acting a fool on social media. And while they may not legally be able to withhold a job, they do kind of weed out negative employees based on certain background information. And the NFL is really reactive to this domestic violence issue. They need to be a little bit more proactive because it's a public relations nightmare. It's a disaster for an organization to bring in a player that has question marks and then continues to act that way. If you're going to bring in someone, they should be ordered into counseling. They should be ordered into a monitoring program in order to really prevent situations from happening. Organizations need to be responsible because if you know someone, now if it's a first-time offense, then I think some leeway should be given, and there should be definitely a stringent domestic violence mentoring program or counseling program where an individual can go get some help, talk about what the hell's going on with his family, and get rehabilitated. They should be given that chance. But if an organization just brings a guy on for production purposes and he continues to act a fool in the community, you're really doing a disservice. It can be something that will escalate and cause a lot of problems in the league. And right now, the NFL cannot afford to take any more hits, public relations-wise. So you definitely need to find some way. Maybe it's not punishing teams, but you need to find alternative solutions to really address this domestic violence issue because it's becoming a really, really big issue.
If a team if a league like the NFL wants to be proactive, put the onus on the players, and give them one chance. You screw up once, okay. Your second time you mess up, you're out of the league. There's no coming back. There's no sitting there getting the NFLPA involved. There's no conversations. You're done. We don't have room for you. That's how it works. Do something like that. Don't be reactive all the time. All right, let's move on. So your boy, Michigan's Jabril Peppers, was on the Twitter machine, and I know you love the Twitter machine. I know you were sitting there conversing with him, or at least shooting tweets at him. He was on Twitter tweeting about, and I quote, the NCAA and their indentured servant checks and how he wants to be able to eat because he's hungry. What are your thoughts on this?
Man, as we're recording this, he's still firing off tweets. He's responding to everybody asking questions. Like, here's an example. Someone messaged him, don't you get like $1,700 a month plus free tutors and all the free gear you want? Must be tough. He tweets back, $1,700 a month? Man, no, I don't care about the money. It's the meal plan, bro. He had to, I guess he decided to move off campus. And when you move off campus, you ain't getting no meal plan.
He had to move off campus.
Okay.
Because the dorms closed. So he had to move off campus. So this is where it gets a little bit sketchy because the NCAA does these things where you're basically forcing the player who is up at the university, training for the season, getting ready for the season, and the NCAA won't allow him to stay on campus. He has to now stay off campus. When he has to stay off campus, he doesn't get a meal plan.
Okay, so do you think Jabril Peppers is going hungry as we speak?
No.
I think that he has a struggle. Maybe he doesn't have enough food or does not have enough stocked up in the fridge at his new place. But I just think the way he's handling it will never garner you public favor. Student athletes tweeting out on social media, hey, I need some money, hey, I need some food, is ever going to win you bonus points, is ever going to win you favor. I think, hey, man, if you're really hungry and you're really having a hard time, you stroll into Jim Harbaugh's office, whisper in his ear, hey, something's going on. He's going to take care of it. And he'll probably take care of it in a way that won't get his ass in trouble. Some will. I mean, there's been plenty of stories of head coaches taking tacos over to apartments. It's going on. NCAA violations go on quite a bit. And if it's just food, I don't think the NCAA comes down hard at all. But when you start putting it out there publicly like this and you're responding to all these people, it's just all negative. People are going to perceive you as not being focused. They're going to perceive you as being, an individual that wants money. If there's an issue and you are not able to feed yourself and maintain weight and really feel comfortable, you got to tell someone. And I think someone would help you. But going on Twitter, I just think is the wrong way to handle the situation because there are rules. You may not like them. I probably don't like them. Student athletes should be paid. But the issue cannot just be said and stated, pay the athletes. Because you got women student athletes, you gotta deal with, well, how do we pay non-revenue generating sports? It's a logistical nightmare as to say, well, the football team generates billions of dollars or millions of dollars, and the rowing team generates $500. How are you going to pay them the same? And even if you do pay them, you're always going to find somebody that's going to take the extra handout, no matter what. If you hand someone 10 grand and tell them don't say nothing, how many people would take it? Over 50%? 50% even? So you're always going to have that impropriety going on in terms of paying these players. It's a logistical nightmare. But if this is a real issue, you go handle it with your coach. You figure out a solution. Handling your problems as a public figure via social media is the stupidest thing you can do because anyone that responds to you is probably a troll or like someone who's crazy, who's a hater. So I just think that if you have a real issue, stay off of social media, handle your business in private, and focus on what you got to really focus on.
Can we both agree, though, that the NCAA does have a big problem here and maybe needs to spend a little bit of time addressing this issue?
They're trying to pocket all the money in their pockets. They're not trying to solve this problem. This has been a problem that's been like there's one story a year on Real Sports that says, hey, these players need money. These players are taken advantage of. These student athletes are, not getting a real education. The system is far screwing the student athletes by a long shot. But they get to they get to stand up there and say, hey, you get a college degree. So that's what they're holding their head on. The tide hasn't turned. I mean, it's getting there. They're climbing the hill, but they're not even halfway up the hill. The odds are stacked so far against student athletes, it's not even funny. You got money galore, and in this day and age, nobody's really in the mood to sprinkle it down to the people that's funding it. All to the top, nothing to the bottom. That's the philosophy. And if you're going to try and change it, good luck, because it's going to be a big fight, and you're going to run into people who are going to say, you get a place to stay, you get books, you get notoriety, you get the lottery ticket to try to cash in for millions of dollars. I didn't get that. So you have an uphill climb. So if it's going to happen, my confidence level, I'm just going to say it's never going to happen. I don't think in our lifetime student athletes are going to be paid. I don't think it'll happen.
I think by your response, though, you agree that the NCAA does have a monster issue that should be addressing.
Oh, yeah. It should be addressed for sure. I mean, for sure. These guys are, in this day and age, with boosters, with people who have money sprinkling it down to the athletes, there's an issue when athletes feel compelled to kind of skirt the rules and help, take care of their families by taking money. That shouldn't be an issue.
All right, Doc, good job. Let's pay some bills here and let's come back with some Lions talk. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Doc and Jock, podcast 94. Stay with us. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
Thank you, everyone who has downloaded this podcast. We greatly appreciate it. iTunes, Podomatic, Stitcher, Podbay, the DetroitSportsNation.com website. Several ways to get this podcast. The Doc and Jock podcast, weekly podcast dedicated to Detroit sports. thank you so much for downloading it. And if you like it, share it with a friend. We're going to be here. We're continuing to rock the podcast world, and we love doing it every single week. Nothing better we'd like to do than to break down Detroit sports in our own unique way. Because OTAs have started. Does that mean football's ever closer to starting? OTAs, organized team activities, are going down at Allen Park. They're running around. Hope springs eternal. It's good times, man.
It's inching forward, man. Love football season. Love it.
Let's get to the first news with the Lions. They came out and have said, listen, we like an idea. We're going to copy it. Jerry Jones, printing money, making money hand over fist. And there are great seats available, I guess, in Jerry World, where you can hang out at the tunnel and watch the players come out. And it costs a pretty penny. And the Lions were like, you know what? If there are some rich individuals that are crazy and passionate about the Lions, hey, let's create a tunnel and a unique and expensive club where you can hang out and you can get all the food you want, you can get all the drinks you want, and when the Lions are coming on the field, you can cheer them on, baby. For the low price of $9,500, you can hang out and cheer on the Detroit Lions. $19,000 for a pair.
Just sounds awful. Sounds horrible. Here's the thing. The tunnel that the Lions come out of and that all the other players come out of is horrible. It looks, seriously, it's like you going down to your unfinished basement. It's exactly what it looks like. It's just like a giant like receiving dock is what it looks like. I've been in there. It's awful. So unless they're going to sit there in the MGM Grand and the Detroit Lions are going to come together and they're going to make this thing like a giant party atmosphere, that's the only way I might even entertain looking at that offer again. And even then, I'm going to tell you that you're crazy. Because who the hell has money like that unless your name's Dan Gilbert? Who's got money like that?
Yeah, most people are already thinking it's going to be companies that are going to use it as a tax write-off and share it with their employees.
That'd be the only way.
If you had the money.
This is not for the common man.
If you had the money, would you do it?
No.
No.
I'd hang out in my suite where I could sit there and I could eat and drink and be merry, have like 19 big screen TVs going on, watch the game on the field, have girls dancing on poles or in cages and doing all kinds of crazy shit up above.
Yeah,
no way.
I feel like DocNJock would last like 2 games because it'd be like, now your Detroit Lions. The Lions would be looking like, what the hell? After their 7-9 season or after a tough game, the next game they come out and these fans can be nasty after some drinking, and you're gonna be behind the glass, or you're gonna have the crazy ones that are gonna be like banging on the glass and they're gonna be riling up the team. No, it's crazy. The NFL is all about, hey, how can we make the most money? They're gonna try it, and people are gonna be. The good thing is with social media, most people, I think, in those seats will take pictures and show us a little bit about what it's like. If I had the money, I wouldn't do it. I mean, if I had a lot of money and a company that had a lot of money, I'd consider it. But no, not
Wouldn't
as
you much rather sit in a suite, though?
I'd rather sit in my house. I'd actually much rather just be sitting here in front of this microphone, put the screen on, and just start, ragging on the Lions. That's it.
I'm just saying, man, if I had the money and I needed to be at the stadium to watch the game, just get one of those executive suites where they've got somebody who kind of is your butler, feeds you, drinks you, burps you, lets you go to the bathroom, they change you, and tuck you all in, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't need to be that close to the field. I really don't. It's not that cool, honestly.
No, it's. I was shocked. I was shocked that they rolled out with that. But hey, let's not have gambling, but let's partner up with the MGM Casino.
Right.
Very interesting.
Makes all kinds of sense.
Cha-ching. For the right price, they'll partner up with the Detroit Sports Podcast. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
I don't know if our pockets are that deep.
Not yet. In terms of the OTAs, they're going on right now. But at this time of year, lots of talk regarding rankings, where people think the Lions are headed, what people think about where people slot out at each position. NFL.com ranked the top 10 QBs. And Matthew Stafford, I'm kind of surprised, didn't get a sniff. Dave Dameshek, I like him. I've seen him on the Adam Carolla podcast. He's all over the NFL Network. He's a big guy in terms of football. Went a step further and ranked the quarterbacks in tiers and graded the top 15. Matthew Stafford wasn't even considered by Dave Dameshek a third-tier quarterback. Is this accurate? In terms of the disrespect for Matthew Stafford, not considering him a top 10, especially though, when you look at it, at the ones they included and not including Stafford, not 100% certain at this list, but Dameshek really doesn't even consider him a third-tier quarterback.
Dameshek went hard in the paint on this, but I think he's right. I mean, especially if you look back, if you look at the numbers that Stafford put up last year, I don't think he's in the top 15. I think he's somewhere in that bottom half of the league. On top of that, we tend to take into account Matthew Stafford's potential. We take into things that don't necessarily mean anything, like his arm strength. Arm strength is great if you can complete a pass 50 yards down the field. How often is he doing that? How often is he upright long enough to do that? He's not. So I think where Dave Dameshek has everybody placed, and I think where the guys at NFL.com rank their top 10 quarterbacks, and Matt Stafford didn't even sniff anybody's toes, I think it's right on. I don't think he fits in there yet. I think he has the potential, and this is the scary word, potential. We always talk about Matt Stafford's potential and how his ceiling is so high. He's going into, his 6th, 7th season in the league? I mean, shouldn't he be at his ceiling at some point here? Shouldn't he be close to it? And he's not even a top 15 quarterback. So I think he's right on.
He's right around the top 10. I do think he's got the arm. He's got all the intangibles you need. It's just now going out there and executing it.
But
and
he's
also
been in the league so long. Shouldn't he have already put this together?
But now they've just started to build the offensive line. Remember, the offensive line hasn't been ranked too high throughout his time in Detroit. Remember, the last season, he got rocked.
2 years ago, he had one of the best offensive lines in the game, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, based on his number 1 overall draft status, you would think he should be at a little bit farther status. But right now, he's got all the support of the organization. They've put as many pieces around him as possible. First round tight end. You got a running back in Joik Bell and now a second round running back that you're going to use to, help the screen game. You got 2 wide receivers that are well respected and all pro. What more do you need? Now you're building the offensive line. You got a new system in place that he's now familiar with. All the pieces are in place, and you've got Caldwell there mentoring him. So everything is in place now for him to take that next step. What's my confidence level at? Now, I'm a pessimist. I sit here, and I think if you've listened to this podcast, full disclosure, I've been a Lions fan for far too long, and you can only hark back to one playoff win and think, man, we just haven't had that level of success. The number 1 overall pick should be able to get you some playoff wins. Not get you to the Super Bowl every year, but we've seen Tom Brady, we've seen Russell Wilson be able to grasp things pretty quickly and have success.
Dude, you have guys like Eli Manning ahead of him. Eli Manning, the mouth breather himself. Tony Romo.
Do you have the list in front of you by chance?
Yeah, I just pulled it up. Tony Romo's ranked 6th on this list. Let's see here. Aaron Rodgers is number 1. Ben Roethlisberger is number 2. Andrew Luck's number 3 on this list. Tom Brady's number 5. Russell Wilson's number 4. Going to Dave Dameshek's specifically. Give me one sec here. Pulling it up. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers number 1. Ben Roethlisberger number 2. Tom Brady's number 3. Luck's number 4. Wilson's number 5. Drew Brees is number 6. Cam Newton is number 7. Phillip Rivers is number 8. Peyton Manning is number 9. Number 10 is Eli Manning. You got Alex Smith, Matt Ryan, Joe Flacco, Tony Romo all in the mix. It's
wow.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
man,
he doesn't all. You know what these guys have that he doesn't have? These guys all win playoff games. Matt Stafford hasn't won a playoff game. He's got the best wide receiver in the game. I mean, I know he's now on the downside of his career, but at the time he had the best wide receiver in the game. I mean, I know he hasn't had a running game worth a damn, but still, man.
Do you think with his progression and with the moves they've made, the NFL came out also and said, hey, let's list the teams that we felt have improved. They put the Lions on the list as being one of the teams that improved their offense. So they do see some cachet in terms of the Lions and their ability to potentially put up some points or be efficient. Matthew Stafford needs to find that balance between being the gunslinger and moving the chains and getting points on the board. More touchdowns, less field goals, less mistakes, and I just feel like he's ready to take that next step. I really think he can do it. Everything is in place. The recipe's been made. Everything's in place. He's got the tools. He's got the coaching staff behind him. Can he go out and do it? And now it's an offensive league. I mean, basically, the NFL has come out and put in rules and more rules in order to help the offense. I mean, what else basically does he need? If he can't do it in this season, I will come on and after the season say it's time to get a new quarterback. I can't say it's going to be Kellen Moore. If he's not able to have success this season with what's around him, then it's time to really consider getting a new quarterback in here. You can't wait any longer. I think we've been patient enough. No playoff wins. None. And unfortunately, there have been quarterbacks drafted a little bit lower that have had a little bit more success. And he is bound by that contract. He got an extension, a huge extension, based on what?
I think the big thing is the 0 playoff wins. And even though I don't like the way that they drafted, I think that the moves that they made throughout the draft does help this offense. This offense should be more explosive. They should actually have a run game because they have enough pieces now along that offensive line that they've added to. You drafted a running back in the second round. I mean, this guy is supposed to be a playmaker. If they can't get this to work, then we've got bigger issues. I mean, you've got so much invested in that offense right now. Last year, you took a tight end in the top 10 overall. This year, you sat there and you moved back and you added a guard center combo, and then you went and you drafted another guy who is a guard, maybe a tackle. Depends on how he's going to project and how he's going to work out. And then you've sat there and you've added other pieces later on in the draft to go along that offensive line. You've drafted a running back in your second round. You added enough pieces to where this offense needs to be potent and at least lethal against, I would say, the lower half of the teams in the NFL. I'm not going to say the upper half, but the lower half of the teams in the NFL. You need to be lethal. You need to be able to come out and you need to be able to run up the score on those guys. And you need to be able to establish a run game. While I don't like the way they drafted, yes, they've added enough pieces to where they should be at least deadly or scary on offense. And
Hey, that's unbelievable!
Matt Stafford has to be able to do it this year.
Yeah, and I don't know how people are saying that the Lions are on an uptick when you've lost the best defensive player you've ever had. It's going to be a question mark, the defense, because now let's just
you
say...
didn't add anything to that defense, really.
Yeah, let's just say now
honest.
Stafford makes the improvement, but the defense takes a couple steps back, and now you're calling upon Stafford to, hey, every fourth quarter, get down there and lead this team. He's a much better front runner than he is a guy. He definitely has had some success bringing the team back, but you can't go to that well too often. And so how's the defense and the offense going to work together for this team? Just can't wait to look at it and break it down. But right now, early on, the perception is that the Lions have taken a step back or two, and that schedule is just brutal. This season is going to be about going out and taking it and being aggressive and doing what you got to do in order to be successful. Can this team do that? That's what we're all hoping that they can. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that this team can go out again and win 10, 11 games. Can they do it? History would say no, but why not? It's going to be great to look at. I mean, the pieces are in place. Everything, like I said, the recipe's there. Can they go out and execute and come out with the product that we're all looking for?
Because of that defense last year, this team could go out and offensively only score 7 to 10 points and win games. I really feel like with the way that defense is constructed now, and with as much as you have on that offense, this team needs to go out and they have to regularly put up 28 to 32 points a game to sit there and get wins. And it's just saying that defense took that big of a step back because they've lost pieces along that defensive line. And I think that defensive line made that second half, those guys, those linebackers and those safeties and those cornerbacks look that much better. I mean, that defensive line took a huge hit. I don't think anybody really wants to come out and admit it yet. But it's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together because maybe you can have that adjustment where you have a team that was very defensively orientated, winning you games the year prior, and then come back and basically do a 180. Now you're going to have a very offensive team winning you games, and that defense maybe can help keep you in it a little bit.
You know what my parting shot's going to be about?
What?
James Ahedibo.
That's your boy.
Come on, man. You come out and you say, pay me my money. Pay me. I'm not happy. You paid my backup as much as I'm getting paid. Pay me. I'm not going to show up to OTAs. First day of OTAs, who's there? James Ahedibo.
You don't want to get fined, bro.
Come on, you ain't going to get fined.
That's a lot of money, man.
Oh, come on, dude. If you want, stand your ground.
You got backups making as much as him. Come on now.
Our guys don't even know how to hold out properly. Like, Mr. Lewan, I want more money. He comes out like, I want more money. I'm not coming. Talk to my agent. Boom. First day OTAs, there's Mr. Ahedibo. Boom. Yes, coach. Whatever you guys want. How many routes you want me to run? Sure, I'll be there. First thing. You know he's going to hurt himself.
He's like, I'm here.
I'm here.
I don't want to be, but I'm here.
That's right.
Pay me.
Not even tweeting about it. Not even, it's like talking to the media like, you know what? I just got to do what's right. I think it's, what kind of holdout is that? We don't even hold out right anymore.
Hey, that's those character guys that they want.
Right. Guys that hold out in the beginning and then show up to work.
You said it. They don't want thugs on this team. They don't want anybody who's semi-gangster. That's that character, man.
Right,
that's what they drafted. That's how they built this team.
Right,
it's all character guys, bro.
Here's the best part.
Good dudes coming to work, putting their hard hats on, and they'll sit there and they'll take it up with the boss. They'll talk to him later.
Right. Well,
they might not hear what he has to say, but he's going to talk to him.
They'll be like, yo, James, where were you on the field the last couple games? You weren't there because you sucked. So first of all, he had really no foot to stand on with his demands. Yeah, it sucks that they paid your backup a little bit more money, but you're older, and you have more experience in the league, but the last couple games last year, you weren't on the field. They pulled you because you were ineffective, and you're going to hold out and say, I'm not going to come to OTAs, I want more money, and then you show up.
It says, pay me, bro.
That's my parting shot. I just think if you're gonna do something, stick to it, right or wrong. That's it. Be a man and stick to it. Maybe now he'll just by the good graces, maybe they'll renegotiate. But there's no money there. So all in all, his initial thought was ridiculous.
If he gets an extra $250,000, you think that'll make him happy? He's getting a little bit more,
maybe.
And you just said it.
Maybe
you just said it. He was ineffective the end of last season. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Great podcast, cuz. Another great episode. 94 down, inching closer to 100. Unbelievable stuff, sir.
I want to have a giant party in here when we hit 100.
Man, Memorial Weekend was great, except the actual day stunk. So what are you going to do? We need to make up for it. The weather's been bad. As we're recording this, it looks like, more rain. But what are you going to do?
I want to have Naked Twister when we hit 100.
Naked Twister.
Not with you, but with hot chicks.
Okay, that makes more sense.
All right, you can videotape.
For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. This has been episode 94. See everybody next week.
Go Tigers.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me.